What's up, everybody? We are back with another live post-game recap. We're going to be recapping number 5, Texas's 27-24 victory over number 25 Vanderbilt. Don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. All right. Well, I'm joined by Alex Okafor to my right, Jeremy Hills to my left. So we're going to break down the game today. Texas improved to 7-1, 3-1 in the SEC. Vandy drops to 5-3, 2-2 in the SEC. And, oh, man. Hills, I'm going to let you go first. You set the tone here.
Listen, at the end of the day, a win is a win.
Yep.
Right?
True.
A sloppy win, no doubt, right? You literally had points taken off the board due to penalties, right? Not just like, oh, okay, if we wouldn't have had that penalty. No, I mean like pick 6 taken off the board because of a penalty. Like you had points taken off the board, which is terrible. And I think there's just a representation of kind of what this game felt like. It didn't feel great, but there's a lot to learn here. You went on the road and you beat a team that's been red hot, right? They've been red hot. They put it to Kentucky. They knocked off Bama. This team been playing some good football. I think the disappointing part is that after that first drive where we get the tip and then it's the pick and Pavia goes and does his thing, great run, by the way, magical run, and then you score 21 straight, you got this feeling like, all right, let's go. Like we're just going to pull away, and here it is. We ready to pour it on. We are Texas. And that's not how this game played itself.
And that's probably why it was a little bit depressing. And I think you hit it right on the head, and I didn't realize that. But we were primed to really open this thing up like we should have, and we couldn't. We couldn't put our foot on the gas. And for some reason, Vandy was able to stick around. And not for some reason. That's what they do. That's what this team is. But like Jay said, hey, it was an ugly win, but it is a win on the road. And guess what? We take those.
Yeah. And look, this team – Ask Alabama. It's not easy to go into Vanderbilt and win. It doesn't matter how many fans you have in that stadium. It's tough. And they beat Alabama. They are a legit team. And I think a lot of people, I've already read a lot of the comments and a lot of the stuff people are saying, that Texas shouldn't be struggling with Vanderbilt. That's the old Vanderbilt, right? I think you've got to give this team their dues. But I also don't want to sugarcoat it. We didn't make the plays we needed to make when we needed to make them. And we had penalties at key times. We ended up with 10 penalties for 108 yards. We really struggled in that department in some key situations. We had turnovers that led to quick points for
14
Vanderbilt.
points off a turnover.
Yep. And so there's no way to sugarcoat that. It was tough. But let's get into, I want to take it over to the offensive side of the ball. So we ended up with 392 total yards, 288 passing. We averaged 7.8 yards per pass, 104 yards rushing, and 3.1 yards per carry. Look, let's give it up. The player of the game to me, I don't even think there's any doubt, was DeAndre Moore.
Yep.
Like DeAndre had 6 catches, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. He came to play. Also, props to him. A lot of people don't know this. His dad played basketball at Vanderbilt, so this was a big game for him.
Personal.
Yeah, so it was a cool thing to see. Plus, he had the punt down inside the 1, as well as he's the one who caught the onside kick.
Yeah.
So that's big. But I want to kick it over to you, Oak. So give me your overall thoughts on this offense today?
Yeah, well, you already hit it. DeAndre Moore, we got to give him his love, man, because he stayed consistent. He stayed the course. He wasn't getting the targets early in the season. He didn't let that change his mindset. He didn't let that change his attitude or mentality. He stayed on par, stayed on course, and now he's getting the targets and the love, and he's getting to showcase his abilities out there. So shout out DeAndre Moore. I think he encapsulates the mentality that this team needs to adopt. And not saying he's the only one with this mentality, but if everybody can adopt the mentality that this man has, I think we'd be better off moving forward. Now, to continue the positives, I'd say good job by Quinn getting back on track. That first half, it wasn't perfect, but we saw what we needed to see from him. The thing about it, we got to build Quinn back up after that Georgia game. It's not going to happen overnight. I know Texas fans want it to happen overnight. We want to get back to the Michigan Quinn.
They want that
1 week later, right?
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen like that. We got to slowly get his confidence back up. We got to slowly get his rhythm and timing back up. And I thought today was a good step in the right direction. Now, negatives, penalties. And I've said it before on the post-game show, and I'll say it again. Penalties, especially on the offensive line, have not gotten cleaned up. Yeah. And I don't get what's going on. And let me be careful with saying this, but over the past couple weeks, I'll almost go as far as saying the offensive line is regressing a little bit. And I don't know why that is between the physicality between picking up blocks and blitzes, we just don't look as clean as we looked early on in the season. And I don't know why, but I'm glad we got a bye week coming up so we can address some of these issues.
Yeah, and Hills, before I go to you, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think Kirby Smart threw a lot of stuff at this line, and I think it showed some things, and I think Vanderbilt took advantage of a few of those with some shifts, et cetera, and I do think that made a big difference. I really liked how Quinn came out in this game, and I honestly like how Sark called it to start. He called it pretty conservatively to get him back in. And I mean, Quinn had 17 straight completions.
He went 17 straight.
Yeah,
I can't take that from him.
After that pick, he locked in. And the other thing I really liked about this game is I think we're breaking Jaden Blue back in. Like Trey's proven to be, I think, way more than anyone thought he was going to be. He's patient, he runs hard, he does a lot. But Jaden Blue brings that X factor, and we saw it today. When he gets out and he gets into that open field, he's scary, and he's got some shake to him.
I wish he'd have put it in the end zone.
I know.
I know.
But that's just me
close.
being never satisfied. Yeah. But no, you're 100% right. Jaden Blue made the absolute most of his opportunities. He looked focused. He looked sharp. He looked decisive. He looked intentional with his running. He was physical. That's what I want to see from him every single week.
Yeah.
Every time he touches the ball, I want to see that kind of mentality behind the run. Because we always used to say, pass pro and running in between the tackles is a mentality. That's making up your mind that this is going to happen, right? As far as Quinn, 17 straight is 17 straight. Sometimes it's hard to do that on air. So he did that on the road against, the Fighting Pavias. You got to give him his cost. He did his thing. And I'm being funny, but listen, Vanderbilt, man, salute. If there's one thing that I never expected, it was for them to stop fighting.
Yeah.
I just expected Vanderbilt to keep clawing and scratching. They remind me of, take this within context, they remind me of the Detroit Lions of the NFL. Like, they just keep fighting and scratching, and they're physical to the very end of the game, right? But that's why you got to knock a team like that out, because they're not going to quit. So I have to knock you out.
Yeah, we couldn't get that 3-score cushion that I think you need against them, because that forces them out of who they are, and we couldn't ever get to that.
And that's disappointing, because when you're saying weak, let's be specific here. We're not talking about this defense. This defense forced 3 turnovers. We only got 3 points off of them.
Oh, that hurts. I hate hearing that.
It's the truth,
yeah.
Right? This defense played solid front to back. They almost put it away themselves with the pick 6 that got called back, right? So, and how many times did they get a crucial pick on a drive that was going to close that gap, right? So the defense did their thing, and they continue to do that week in and week out. We have to find out why we get lulled to sleep at different points during football games as an offense.
Yeah,
it's certain times where we just look unstoppable. And there's other times where that same group looks, I'm not going to say disinterested, but I'm going to say they just look a little off. And I don't know what it is. And it goes back to what you were talking about, Oak. It's like the line just feels a little bit off. The pass game feels a little bit off. The everything just feels a little bit off. So, like Oak said, I think I second that sentiment, man. I'm ready to see us get into this bye week. If it's rest that's needed, if it's like they're just banged up, then cool. Let that be the remedy. But if it's like a focus thing, then let's get recharged and get ready for these next 4 to 5 weeks that are not going to be easy.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to Jay Hill's point. I was going to say another thing for this offense that's concerning is why do we continually start slow? Whether it's penalties, whether it's a turnover, that has to get addressed. And it's hard to address. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know what the answer is to it. But for some reason, we cannot start fast. And if we play a team that's just as good as us, it's going to cost us. And it has cost us in the past. So that has to get addressed. And I don't know why it hasn't. But moving forward, we got to figure that out.
Yeah, and this slow start thing it's been interesting to watch because, against Oklahoma, against Mississippi State, and now Georgia, and against Vanderbilt. You're right. We can out-talent the teams we beat. You can't out-talent Georgia, right? And that's the issue is we spotted them a half. We spotted them maybe 3 quarters. And you just can't fight back from that. And granted, our schedule is such for the rest of the year that we could probably get by on this, but it's got to get tightened up because the team that we know is in there isn't showing, right? There's just that consistency is not there, and I don't know what it is and why it's happening.
But I want to be clear, I hope none that I'm saying ever divides this team. They have to stay together. your defense is playing good football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when I say they're getting a fast start.
Yeah.
They're getting turnovers. They're getting guys off the field. They're playing physical. They're playing assignment sound. They're playing, on a string, from the front end all the way to the safety. Everybody, the defense is playing good football. The offense has to catch up.
Yeah. And the funny thing is at the start of the year, if you would have asked people where we were at this point in the year, people would have said 7-1, 3-1, but they would have said that our offense was carrying this team. And who would have thought that we'd be sitting here saying the defense is the strong point of our team? Where is our offense?
Yeah.
Like that's interesting. Well, so let's move that. Well, actually, I will say before we leave the offense, we finally got to see Amari Niblack. He made a nice catch. He had like a 20-yard catch. We hadn't seen him all year. Gunner had a pretty good game too. I think I'll give it up. Matthew Golden with a heck of a catch in the end zone.
That thing was disgusting.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Like I was like, oh man, we're not going to get that, and then he got it. He got it.
He said you were not.
Yeah,
I can get that.
No, our receivers are as good as advertised.
Yeah.
Like week in and week out, if there's one thing that's consistent about this offense is our receivers step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Our receivers are always the best people on the field, and I got to give them their love for that.
and it's interesting too because I think this is big. Look, we got the win without Isaiah Bond in there. It gave him a chance to rest, and he's going to get the off week to rest, and I think that's big. But you're seeing somebody else step up every game, and also I think people greatly underestimated DeAndre Moore's athleticism. I think people saw him as a possession receiver, as the blocking guy, whatever. He made some plays.
That kid can play.
Kid's a beast.
It's hard to come to the University of Texas on a scholarship playing wide receiver, and you can't play.
Yeah.
Right. So it's cool to see that. Like, man, we got a stable over there. We got like a plethora of talent. And like we talked about early in the year when we were doing the season preview, I told you we talked about it then. I think this will be a season where each game a different receiver steps up and makes the plays. Right. So it did feel good to know that you got an Isaiah Bond who just needed to rest, and you got a T. Moore's like, hey, I got it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I got it today. Now, again. Talent is not what we're questioning here.
Right.
So seeing talent do talent things is cool. But can we wipe out 108 yards worth of penalties? Can we play clean football?
Yeah.
Can we play disciplined football? Can we get off to the start that we want to get off to? Like, what does that look like? Then what does the talent look like?
Yeah. And I mean, we'll cover this, I think, when we get to special teams. But the penalties on special teams are hurting us so badly too, starting so deep, or whether it's the punt game. But let's get to the defense first. There's the fun part of the show.
Here we go.
I mean, you've got to give it up. This team held Vanderbilt to 269 yards, 155 yards passing, and I think the more impressive piece is the 114 yards rushing because Vanderbilt grinds it out. I think the other really important stat is that Texas had the ball longer than Vanderbilt, which was key to this game, and we said that. Vandy tends to take the air out of the ball. They average 33 minutes a game holding the ball. They only had 28:51 this game, and we had 31:09, so that was big. But let's get to the good stuff. Look, this defense turned the field over quite a few times. I will say I was really impressed with Jelani McDonald. Jelani McDonald playing really his first try, and Kobe Black. Kobe Black showed some real things.
I know. Listen, he got to be boys in the hood punching the air right now. he got to be punching the air right now, man. Like you step up in your first big moment and you go to the crib. And they like, never mind.
I wonder if he knew the flag was out.
He didn't at first. I forget who it was in the end zone. He came over there to celebrate with him. You could tell when he delivered that bad news to him. Like, he put his hand on his helmet and he said something. You just seen black hair. Said, man,
that's the worst because not only did you get your play taken away, now you got to do the next rep.
And it's first down.
And it's first down. That's tough, bro.
Yeah. Well, talk about. It's hard to say who was the MVP of the defense. Look, Anthony Hill is just always so solid and blows up so many plays. Man, Michael Taff continues to make plays. That guy forced a fumble, got a pick. Props to Ethan Burke for getting the tip. Like this defense just makes plays, man. And I don't know. I guess if I had to go MVP, man, it's tough between Taff or like Hill just makes so many plays.
Yeah, he does. And he makes so many plays that you don't hear about because he's in the right spot.
Yep.
Like you've seen a couple of times where Diego wanted to go there and he couldn't. And so he's pulling the ball down and extending the play, and we'll take that all day. We love our athleticism on the edges.
Yep.
So we'll take that all day. And that was one of the things that I really, really, really enjoyed seeing today was that, like, there was never once a sense of panic with Diego extending the play with his legs. We chased him down time and time and time again and then put real hits on him.
Yep.
Even to the point where the one time he did get loose, he ended up, unfortunately getting rolled up and hurting his ankle, and he came back in the game. Love to see a Warrior compete. But we're going to be there. I think Texas defense made their mind up from the jump. It's like, listen, if that's what you're going to do, we'll meet you there. And I was very happy to see that because that was, I mean, he and mind you, this is after, we go on the field, tip, pick, they get it, and then he does something magical. It's 7-0. You're like, okay, what we gonna do? We answer and erase that for majority of this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, the defense. If I have to go MVP, at the end of the day, that the game is about the ball. So I would have to go with Michael Taft on two different times. He like how many drives? You already said we won the time of possession battle. So how many drives did they have? And he took 2 of them away.
Yeah.
Right. So I gotta salute him.
Well, and for the stats, Anthony Hill, 8 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. He was our leading tackler. Jelani McDonald was second, 7 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Taft with 6 total tackles, 3 solo, plus the forced fumble and the pick. So pretty tough game. How about you, O? Give me your thoughts, man.
Yeah, so if I'm going MVP, I got to go Mookie Taft. And just because, and you named a lot of good names, a lot of great games on the defensive side of the ball. I got to go with Taft just because he's setting the tone for this defense. His physicality just pops up off tape, man. And
he jumps into every play in the background. You just see him throwing his shoulder
He's throwing
around,
his body around.
he's looking for contact. Like I've not once this season seen him avoid contact. And he's also getting it done in the passing game as well. He's not just a box safety. He's not just a big hitter. He's getting it done in coverage as well. So I'd have to give it to Mookie Taft as the MVP. Now, get into this defense. Vandy coming into this game had 2 turnovers on the whole season. Crazy stat.
That's crazy.
We forced 3 today.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I come on this podcast every week and give out a new stat from this defense. Like, this defense is reaching heights that we haven't seen in a while at Texas. Like, they're playing at a really high level. And what I really like about this defense is they don't give up explosive plays. And if you don't give up explosive plays, you always got a chance to win. Like, as ugly as this game was, it'd be a lot uglier if we gave up some explosive plays. And even season-wise, this season, we wouldn't be where we're at if this defense gave up explosive plays, which they don't. So that shows you what type of level we're playing at defensively. Last thing I want to say about the defense so it doesn't get overshadowed. I know for the past couple weeks, maybe the past month, people have been trying to say, where is Trey Moore? Like, where are the big plays? Where are the sacks? Well, first of all, we're not playing offenses where we just get to tee off and rush the passer. Like, we get maybe 5 clear-cut rushes a game, like where you get to pin your ears back. So fans need to recognize that. But Trey Moore is playing the right way. He's playing the right way in the run game. He's forcing pressure. He might not be collecting the sacks, but he's forcing errant throws, turnovers. We saw the tip pass today. He's playing like
he recovered the fumble.
I'm about to say,
right?
he recovered the fumble.
Recovered.
Yeah, he's running to the ball.
He running to the ball, recovered the fumble. Like this, to me, so far, this was his statement game, and it's cool to see because he didn't get a sack, so he's still finding a way to affect the game. I know. As a rusher, and when your numbers aren't there, you start getting down on yourself. But the key is you got to find a way to affect the game, and that's what Trey Moore is doing.
No, for real, he definitely did. Well, I think look, a key piece of the special teams. Key piece of the game was the special teams. I joke a lot about special teams and Burt, but Burt came through and made the field goals when you needed to today. I think look, we're struggling in the punt game. Give Kern his props. He did get 2. He pinned him twice inside the 10-yard line, including the one at the 1 that DeAndre caught. But I think we were at like 33 yards per punt, and that's tough, man. Yeah. And we had 1 shank at least, and that makes a huge difference. Add in the penalties on special teams. It's not what you expected. And Silas had a big return, so I think that helped. And but the penalties and starting deep in our own territory, we just can't have that. And we're setting our offense into tough situations in that moment.
Offense and defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like special teams is that common thread that like sets the field majority of the time when you're thinking of kickoff, when you're thinking of kickoff return, punt or punt return. Like you're setting where this battle is about to happen. And setting it on a short field for our defense is not ideal. And then, giving our offense just, potentially 3 first downs before they're in field goal range is not a great outlook for us either. So we have to clean that up. But when I'm thinking of special teams, I'm looking at Silas Bolden. I love the fire that kid.
You took my point.
I love the fire.
I will say this: he takes years off my life every time he catches, but he does not drop them.
No,
like he always gets it. But the way he does it is like, he's like Willie Mays in the ball in there. You know what I mean? And like not even, and he finds a way. Like he is so shifty.
He's not a big guy
at all,
but to see him running through tackles
and taking contact,
and getting up, like excited about his work. I'm like, oh man,
I feel like every time he catches it, he has a chance to break it. Every time he tries, like every time he returns it, I'm caught, like you said, holding my breath with excitement. Like, oh, this is the one.
Yeah.
Well, even the little screen he had today, man, he got tripped up, but he was getting his full head of steam on that, man. And gosh, it's gonna happen for him. You can see it in him, but he's a dangerous threat. And Golden too, and neither of them has had, they haven't fully broken one yet. I don't think we haven't returned one yet this year, have we? We've come close.
No, we come close.
Yeah.
We haven't returned one.
Yeah. Well, we've had some big ones, man. Well, all right. Well, you guys keep sending in. We've got a lot of comments, a lot of questions. We are recapping number 5, Texas's 27-24 victory over number 25 Vanderbilt. And let's get to the comments and the questions here.
Questions, a lot of them.
Let's see. All right, from Bevo versus the World. Thanks for the sponsored comment. Do you think Sark's past as a quarterback is why he's overprotecting Quinn? I'm guessing that's what that says. Yeah, is why he's overprotecting Quinn. What do y'all think about that?
I don't think his personal past as a quarterback is why he's overprotecting Quinn. If I were to try to go with that narrative, it would be for like a laundry list of other reasons in front of like his personal position. Yeah. Right. I think that he knows his quarterback and he knows how to coach him. Certain guys, you can, pull them on the face mask, say some specific words to them, and it gets them going. Other guys, I can shut them down, right? I think the great part about coaching is it's not a one-size-fits-all. The way to coach Oak is not the way to coach me, right? So, like, I think Sark, at least from what I can see, he does a really good job of knowing the man first and, like, establishing that relationship to where he can coach. You see him sometimes get on certain guys hard, and then he's putting his arms around other guys. It's not a favoritism thing at all. That's how he's decided to coach that person based off of their past. So if we're looking at it like he's overprotecting Quinn, I would say he knows how to coach his quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think Jay hit it right on the head. I'll also add this piece too. Quinn clearly gives us the best chance to win, and if you break Quinn, there's the season. Like, quarterback, and I don't have to explain to people, quarterback is the one position in football that if you don't have one, your team does not stand a chance. So if we know this guy, number 3, Quinn Ewers, gives us the best chance to win, and we know, like Jay said, you got to coach him up a little differently. You can't just come at him like some guys. Then, we got to continue to build him up. You can't break him or the season's over. So.
Yeah, and we saw old Quinn pop out today. We saw him stepping up in the pocket. We saw him take some hits, and we saw him make some plays.
On 3rd and long.
I know.
Yeah, that was a
late
big
in the
one.
third quarter. Late in the third quarter.
God.
That looked great.
I was sitting there texting.
That was to
one
Silas, right?
of our own team. I was texting Ben Wells. Shout out Ben Wells. I was texting Ben Wells.
He's Texas boy.
Oh yeah, he's killing it. He's a high school DB coach in Houston right now at Conroe. He's killing it. But I was texting him about the game, right? Because we know he knows ball. And I'm like, man, as soon as I text, I really just want to see this kid step up and deliver it with confidence. It's like, the football fairies heard me. And he stepped up as he's getting smacked. He throws a sidearm bullet for a first down, and then Silas makes a guy miss and darts forward.
It was 3rd and 20.
I'm just sitting there like, is it too much for me to get that all the time?
I think it is, though. I think it is. Like, I think mobility-wise, we know what Quinn is. So that's why I asked the offensive line, hey, you got to up your game a little bit. You got to keep a clean pocket for him because we know what Quinn is mobility-wise. Like, he's not going to be in there moving. Those type of step-ups you see, they're not happening 5 to 7 times a game. They're going to happen 3 to 5 times a game. So
That's fair. It just bothered me because I was watching Ole Miss play Oklahoma earlier today, and Jackson Dart did it like 6 times. That's all I want. That right there.
But I mean, I do think it makes a difference not having Isaiah Bond in there, right? Like he's a special talent, and having him in there, like that's a difference maker, right? And our receivers are stepping up, but we have been dinged up in that area. But I agree with you. I don't think we're overprotecting Quinn or he's treating him like that. I think he's easing him back in because you're going to have to after that, after another injury.
I got a question about that, right? The easing him back in on thought process, right? Is he hurt still?
It seems like it. Everything everyone's alluding to, it feels like he still is.
I don't think he'd be out there if he was hurt. Just I feel like Arch is too good.
But I mean, injured and hurt are two different things.
I think regardless if one of them, if Quinn was even at 85%, I think Arch still gets the start. That's the only reason why. I think Arch is that good. I think Arch is.
Oh, I do too.
I think Arch is better than an 85% Quinn. So to me, that's what tells me Quinn's healthy. I don't know for sure.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, we just keep hearing different things, so I don't think we know. But I will say, like, we did see this the first time when Quinn got injured against Alabama, was it 2 years ago? We did see when he did come back, it took him a while to kind of take that protective layer off and instant shine away. And
this game, in a certain regard, reminded me a little bit of that 2022 season you're talking about, where we went on the road to Stillwater, and we got up and then we kind of disappeared, and that one just hurt. That one. But to see this team figure it out in what I believe is a similar situation, right, where you go on the road, a team you probably should beat, but they're not gonna go away. They will fight to the end. They do fight themselves back into it. And you find a way to do enough to lead that place with a win.
Well, and that was a great point because 2 years ago we lose this game.
Exactly.
And you just compared it to a perfect game, Oklahoma State, where we felt like Quinn wasn't at his best, to say the least, and we dropped that one. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
Well, it's impressive to get that victory, and I think as long as our defense keeps playing like they are, we will be in every single game this year. And we should. Look, we should win the rest of the games on our schedule, but none of those are going to be easy. That game at Arkansas, the Florida game at home, going to A&M, all of these are – there's no gimmies left.
Seen Arkansas today?
Over 600 yards, 58 points.
Arkansas out there playing basketball, man.
Yeah, it looked like
Arkansas out there hooping.
Did they outscore their basketball team
They
in their
probably
scrimmage?
did,
I don't know.
Arkansas is out there hooping now.
Yeah.
So, no, you're right. And the disappointing part is I got a little angry when I heard you say we'll be in every game. We're going to be favored in every game. And should be.
I agree.
It's I don't want to lower that standard.
I
don't
agree.
Being in every game that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's time now to play as a team to the level that this defense has been playing.
That's a great point.
And when I say as a team, I'm talking directly to my offense and my special teams.
Yeah.
It's time to play to the level that the defense has set. Taft is one of the clear leaders of that defense. I guarantee, I bet my bottom dollar he's one of the leaders on that team. It's time for the leaders to step up. It's that part of the season. It's November football. It's that part of the season.
Yeah.
Where honestly, at this point, we're not going to hear too much new from the coaches. It's at the leaders have to step up and be leaders, and it's time for the playmakers to step up and be playmakers.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going on the comments. David E., glad we won, but damn, away game penalties. That game gave me Oklahoma State at Stillwater vibes. Thank goodness we won. Hey, you read our minds.
Yeah.
I agree. Let's see, from Franklin Denarte. Does Quinn have a low throwing motion? Seems like he sidearms and it opens it up for those swats. I mean, look, I think the two that got picked today were not sidearms. I'd have to go back and watch it. He definitely threw it high on the second one and got tipped up. But he does do the sidearm thing. And look, he has a strong arm. He can generally get away with it, and I think that is kind of a lot of the quarterbacks today have a similar delivery. But yeah, I don't necessarily know that was the reason for it. But I do know there's something wrong. We're getting too many balls tipped up, and
I think whenever I see Quinn, not look accurate, it's usually one or two things or some type of combination of the two. It's where the pre and post snap kind of got him. He tricked him. It won on that play, and he wasn't able to. What he thought it was not what it was, right? So, and then trying to adjust, and then from there, you see his feet.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Right? And it's like when if they trick him here, we automatically see like, crazy feet. And then now we don't get sometimes the best ball. As to where when he knows the answer to that specific test, he's not missing guys because he can't physically get the ball there. It's coming out with power, zip, and accuracy. It's just a matter of being confident in that throw. You can see the confidence in certain throws versus others.
Well, and I think that's part of that is from the injury. And I remember this when he came back last time. He was not stepping into his throws, or he was kind of, he was off balance or off platform on a lot of the throws as opposed to stepping into it. Even on that second pick, if he takes one sidestep on that, and he can easily make that. But he kind of shied back and threw it and got picked.
Yeah, and to me, the common piece with y'all's assessment on when Quinn is off, to me, is pressure. When you pressure Quinn, the mechanics go out the window.
Yeah.
And like, I saw the signs against Oklahoma in that first quarter. The pressure wasn't even intense. It was light pressure, and his feet were all over the place. He was trying to get out the pocket, couldn't, not stepping up. He doesn't handle pressure well. And to his defense, a lot of quarterbacks don't handle pressure well, but somebody of his caliber, projected first-round pick, you would expect a little bit more when you are pressuring a guy like that.
Yeah, and I'm confident we will. I'm confident by the end of the year he's going to be. I mean, by the end of last year he was playing really, really good football.
But the thing is, and that's why I asked the question earlier: is he hurt?
Yeah,
because when you can visibly see him healthy, it looks like a different number 3 out there.
Yeah,
even from the mobility standpoint.
Yeah,
like he's out there. Like even think back to the Washington game. Like he's out there moving around, scrapping. Like you know what I mean. You just see like a little bit of a different athlete. I say so. That's. I mean, we'll see though, right? We got that bye week. Then we come back and we got Florida. We come back here. We got to defend our house against Florida, and they're coming in with a true freshman. That boy can spin the ball. But we should handle Florida. So, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's just I refuse not to be happy with a road win against a ranked team in the SEC. Yeah, especially a team that's been the giant killer of late. But I just want more.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one last piece about Quinn. I don't want to make it seem like we're piling up against Quinn. As the QB, the signal caller, you're going to take the brunt of the credit and most of the blame. So that's the only reason why we're continuing to talk about this. But I do believe we have to build him back up, like I said earlier, and we are. Quinn, at the end of the season, is going to look different than what he looks like now.
And you know what helps? What you got a chance to see today in that run game. The run game today was better than it's been of late. The run game today was better than
the noises that are coming out of Alex Okafor right now.
Give me like rapper ad-libs that I'm not asking for. He like, hey man, stop. I don't need no help. Oh, listen, the run game today was better than the run game has been of late.
I agree with that.
And in order for it to continue to get better, it has to have at least that two-headed feel, right? And that's why I'm gonna turn my attention to Blue. He has to continue to play better and consistent. And one thing that I really want to challenge him on is handling success, because that a lot of times can be an indicator of what we see from an up and down at that position. Is how do you handle success? You don't all of a sudden forget how to carry the football. You know what I mean? You don't just magically develop a fumbling problem. That's a focus issue. So what do your habits look like? What do your practice habits? What do your sleep habits look like? What does your preparation look like? Like handling success and then being that consistent contributor so that his actual talent can shine like it did in moments today.
And the thing about Blue, he adds an element to this offense that you can't get from anybody else on this team. And I think that's why the expectations are so high for Blue, because we know how big of a difference maker he can be, and he's proven to be that difference
39, fourth quarter.
Absolutely. Huge.
You up 7.
Huge.
39, and they trust you enough to just give you the ball. Look, we're not going to try to scheme. We're just going to run these pullers and give it to you. You're that special.
And he is.
And offensively, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that he might be a top 3 most important guy on the offense.
I agree.
That
100%.
You have to get going.
Today, 10 carries, 47 yards. He had a long of 23 on rushing. and he ended up with where is that? I just had his Jaden Blue 3 catches, 24 yards with the longest 16, and he gives you that element too in the passing game, and so does Trey, but. Blue's got that. You can always feel it. He's about to. He's got that little
In
extra.
Space, he got that home run ability.
I love what I'm seeing, and that just lets you know how talented we believe he is. Because I love what I'm seeing for Trey.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I
He's
love
just
it.
solid.
He
I
gives
want
us
him
that
to
consistency,
continue
yeah.
to do that. The thing is, Blue, you have this gift that, like, when that starts showing, and we get that what we're getting from this guy over here, you get Trey, and you get oh man, it could be special.
Yeah, right along what we were saying.
Question for Jay. What's your assessment of why we haven't seen Gibson? Like, we saw him early. Do you think that since the competition has increased, maybe he hasn't progressed enough?
That man, to be 100% honest with you, I would just be, pulling on a string trying to give you an answer here. I really do not know.
The thing I heard was it was pass blocking. It was missing some assignments.
And that actually makes sense.
But I'm not positive that's not a fact. But that was
what
I heard.
A universal issue for younger backs is pass pro.
Yeah.
And it's hard to put younger backs on the field when pass pro is an issue because you become a tip off to good defenses. If we know that when you're in that, it's probably not a pass. You know what I mean? Like, a defense is all about probability.
Yeah.
If they can, they want to try to come and get a snapshot of what you're in, what set you're in, what's the down and distance, what hash you're on, what personnel is in the game, and they're trying to limit as much as they can to think, okay, you're going to run one of these 4 plays.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're the least you can do, the more you tip that off to them. And believe it or not, man, those guys on that side of the ball are usually fairly athletic.
And
You let athletes like that start playing super
I was
fast.
gonna say, where Fozzy at? Can I record this little soundbite, man?
I'm saying, man, you let guys like that start playing really fast because they're confident in what their guess is, it can be an issue.
And he did get in today. I was happy to see he was out. Gibson was out on the field some, and I liked that. I liked what he gave us against Michigan. He runs hard, and we need that more physical back. Like, Trey runs hard, but he's not not the biggest guy. But Gibson runs like a physical back.
It's a great challenge to him, though, right? Yeah. Because if you know what's keeping you off the field, it's up to you to go get better at it.
Yeah. Well, you heard him talking about Gunner on it today. Was that their issue with him before the season was his ability to run after he caught the ball, and obviously he worked on that this offseason because he looks great with the ball in his hands.
Turn a weakness to a strength.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to
put
do.
himself into the draft big time.
Yeah.
From Nico, shout out to Blue too. Played well when given the opportunity. Yeah, we totally agree on that. From B-Boy Kenzu, thanks for the sponsored comment. O-line and Quinn will be the death of our playoff run. Look, I think that's we're a little too soon on
That's
that
harsh.
one.
We're a little premature.
Yeah, we went from talking about them winning the Joe Moore Award one week to now they're going to be the death of our team.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And look, like, things are up and down. These are long seasons. You have to start looking at this team and this year like an NFL team. Yeah. You have to, because it's week in and week out. You can drop a game. You can still be in it. And I think there's going to be good and bad games, and people have to understand that now.
You're seeing that around college football. You look at Indiana put a thumping on Nebraska. I want to say it was 56-7 last week.
Yeah, and then
you look at that same Nebraska team with a freshman quarterback go up to the big house, and they're down 21-17 on the 50-yard line with the ball with a chance to win it. Right?
They were up before that.
You think Ohio State thought that was coming? But they found a way to win, right? So, like, a lot of this is like, can you find a way to win?
Yes.
Right, and ultimately, you're gonna internally, you're always gonna be your biggest critic, and you got to work on the things that put you in unfavorable situations. But at the end of the day, it's about winning the damn game.
Yeah,
and so we did that. We
Yep.
came away with the win. Now we got 2 weeks or a week and a half or so to work on what we need to work on. And at the top of that list, I'm putting penalties.
Yeah.
I'm putting penalties.
Yeah, it's the discipline.
I'm putting discipline, focus, and attention to detail at the very top of the list. But that to his point, that's not absent of the offensive line and the quarterback room. Those rooms got to get better too.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bevo versus the World said, can't wait to hear the real takes. We appreciate that. From Ashy Larry 5500, penalties, just fix the penalties. Yeah, no, I agree. We've got to get disciplined, and we just talked about that. We got to take some time in this off week and or the bye week and get there.
You see that a lot. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, you'll see that a lot because I remember when we Greg Davis was my offensive coordinator, and we ran a pretty simple offense. He wanted athletes to play fast in space, right? And then I also played for Brian Harsin. And I remember when Harsin came in, it was different personnel groups, different sets, almost like a pro-style offense, but like a lot of window dressing, right? And it called for a different level of attention to detail, right, at all times. And when it worked, it was beautiful. But it was certain times where, this running back is in this personnel group, and this running back is in this personnel group. And when things are running fast, or you're already on the field and you're getting ready to run off and you're running, and he's saying, no, you stay. You're like, wait, I'll stay for this one? He's like, you stay. You got it. He got an ankle. He's like, shit, I don't even know what he does in this group, right? So like, I'll say our offense what makes Sark a genius is the plethora and the layers that he has in this offense, right? It can also make it to where if you don't have a team that is like razor sharp focus, you get what you're getting, which are these mental errors. It's just you're thinking too much. You're just thinking way too much, right? So it'll be interesting to see if either A, this team just gets sharper, or B, we start to see more base sets come from this offense to allow these athletes to be athletes.
And I think we saw a little bit of that today. So we've given everybody their props. Let's give Sark a little bit of credit too. Putting Quinn in a good position, good game script. I know we had some mistakes, but it was still a good game script.
Totally agree.
I think there was a stat, our first 250 passing yards, 219 of those came with yak, run after the catch. So, I mean, that's just Sark drawing up quick, easy passes and letting our athletes be athletes, what Jay was kind of highlighting. So we need to see more of that and continue to grow from that.
Yeah, agreed. From RFab 82, Oak, where did you buy that hat?
hey, my
that
guy,
is a fire hat.
Thank y'all for calling it out.
Here we go.
I wish y'all could see what the rest of his fit he got on, man. Oak, I'm just saying, Oak,
get this man started.
Oak be dressing like we on the runway, man. Oak just left New York Fashion Week before he got here.
Who asked the question?
RFab 82.
RFab 82. This is vintage. Shout out Riley White. Hit that dude up.
Nice.
Man, that sounds like a personal shopper. I don't know who Riley White is.
All right, from Brian Gage. Jay Hills, what's your take on offensive scheme? Seems like we're a precision-based offense that is risk-averse.
I'll say this. I don't believe we've seen all of what's in store with this offense. I believe I think he's right. Like, we've been precision based and we've been a little bit risk averse, and I think that's because we have a defense that's so good you almost just don't want to put them in a bad situation. And I'm not mad at that. But I think as the offense starts to play better, tighter, and then they have less mental errors and they're playing sharper, I think you'll start to see more aggressive offensive play calling. Right? It's hard if you're not sharp and aggressive, you're sloppy. That's typically what's happening. I was just talking about him. You know who you see that from a lot? Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Go watch an Ole Miss game and you like they should have beat LSU. But you'll see some of that. This super aggressive but like leaky offense, right? I think Sark understands that I right now have a unit on the other side of this field that if I can in this drive and a punt flip the field, then we'll probably be good to go, right? So I think, we'll start to get more aggressive on offense with our play calling, taking our shots that are there when we have kind of solidified what we haven't been able to yet, which is just consistency.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, the play action pass game has taken a slight hit because of our running game.
That's fair.
Once we crank up this running game, we'll get them play action shots again. So
yeah.
That said, though, the last 2 to 3 years, we've been a beneficiary of having literally the first back off the board that we were running the play action game through.
Yeah, that's decent.
Yeah.
And once upon a time, if Quinn turned his back and pretended like he was handing it to number 5, the defense would lose their mind, right? So, like, yeah,
There's a high standard in that room.
there's a high standard in that room.
This is from Higgs typing this in. By the way, shout out to Derrick Joe and Mark Higgins for always holding it down on this live when they're the reason this whole thing happens.
Absolutely.
Our production team.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to turn this thing on without them. Let's see. Sarkon Quinn versus Vanderbilt. If he plays like that the rest of the year, we're going to be okay. Yeah, I agree.
And that's you know why he said that? Because he knows that his quarterback went 17 for 17 at one point. Like, let's not forget that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't knock that statement.
Yeah, and Jake Majors in the postgame presser said it really felt like a home game. I mean, the announcer said there were more Texas fans than Vanderbilt fans, which is crazy.
It looked like it.
And I mean, that's the battle of the two cities you'd actually want to live in the SEC. Anyways, all right, let's keep moving on.
I was about to say that because Vanderbilt they got a test coming on Monday. Somebody was out there studying.
For real. From Emily Barrett, this is a good question. Here's what I want to know: what does Flood do or say as a coach when facing stronger, bigger, and smarter D-lines? I trust those men up front, but I think that we are being tested more than ever. Oak, I'll kick that to you as a defensive lineman.
What does Flood say when we're facing
stronger, bigger, and smarter D-lines?
I don't think that's going to be the case this season. Now, I think Georgia is going to be the best D-line we've ever seen this season. Outside of that, I think we've built this team the right way to where we're not going to see more physical D-lines or quote-unquote smarter or heady D-lines. Like, we know, like, we've built this team up the right way, and heading into the season, it's funny how the conversation has shifted a little bit. Heading into the season, we have the best offensive line in the country, and it's not close. Now the dialogue is starting to shift to what happens when we meet stronger and faster and bigger offensive lines. Have you seen Cam Williams?
Yeah.
I don't think it gets bigger than him.
Yeah, I don't know if it gets bigger or stronger than him.
Right. So I don't we have enough in the offensive line room. They just got to play to their standard.
And I think the next real test for our offensive line is coming when we travel up to College Station.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I hate to admit it. I don't ever want to get them props on anything in life. The place is terrible. It doesn't smell good. People there are not that nice. The ones that are nice wish they were living here. That's just the way it works, right? But the defensive line can play football.
Yeah, and so I think getting to this point, we've identified the Achilles heel of this offense, and it's when we face great pass rushers. That's the one thing that slows down this offense. So now moving forward, how do we go against that?
Yeah. That's great. All right. Well, I think that wraps up. Unless you guys have anything else you want to cover today.
The only thing I want to cover, I know LSU is up 10-7. Hope they finish the job. Put a fork in them.
But we will, obviously with the bye week, we'll have a little episode for you guys, but we'll be back the following week to preview the Florida game. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in on Sirius, on the Longhorn Network, everywhere else you find it. Please continue to subscribe, comment. Guys, you guys have been crushing it on the comments, and we do our best to answer all those. Thanks for buying all the shirts. Keep posting about that. We'll repost them. You guys are the best. Appreciate y'all. Hook 'em.